Sorry, everyone. You know, God, the most benevolent, most merciful, most advanced. In tonight's interesting lecture, sorry, folks. It's, just give me a second. Okay, I think the audio is working. Sorry, I had to reconnect. It went back to the MacBook microphone. Okay, everyone. Let me start this lecture again. The first focus is in honor of the original unconditional system of this world drone. You're listening to a very, I guess, unique individual because not only do I consider a higher order process to all these, a higher order, excuse me, a higher order unconditional process to all these lower order conditional processes. Okay. I treat it also that in the human experience, it's very obvious a person did not create themselves, a person did not create this world, a person did not create the unique design of how this world even looks like. And in some sense, we cannot explain existence by what's in existence. Okay, if we are limited to the box, we cannot see beyond. And so, the greatest scholarly position for all human beings, which ends the search for knowledge, is the realization of the limitations of the human being. So, on some level in the world we have created for ourselves in 2026, we are living in the limitations of reality. All of our discoveries are still limitations based upon an event that is so unknown, so majestic, so colossal that the fact that I've even found words to talk about this astonishes me sometimes. In other words, this lecture, like an archer, treats me, I got to make some points here. It is obviously clear to me that my digital selves will, in some sense, outlive me, that I have a shorter life but a deeper life than my expressions in this realm. But all of this is fascinating because when you realize you were conditioned to think you're known and you have to go and know this world, you have to wonder where the known began, and then the unknown cannot be ignored. Sorry about that. I was checking to see if it's audible, and I think it is. In my view, I this is what I was going to say. That think of me as an archer. That every time I give these lectures, I am like an archer aiming at an edgeless sky, the depths of an edgeless sky, and I'm shooting my arrow. And the whole point of the arrow is is to hit its target. There's no other purpose for the arrow. You know. And so the whole point of it is to get the concepts out there is more important than anything else I've prioritized. As Eleanor Roosevelt, I believe, said, small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and great minds talk about ideas. And the reason that was said is because ideas are what is behind the scenes of everything our consciousness has given meaning to, but why these conditions. The grand mystery is there. Now they have shrunk the world into stories. Stop looking at it. In other words, everything I've said so far has been to just to lead to this lecture. That this lecture, to me, its title is an equation. It's like, in some sense, the far advanced future is the result. Equal, if I put an equal sign to the result of reality. I am answering. Now, I want to speak about this because I don't know when the system admin will dismiss me from this system. I thought years ago, 2 years ago, I thought it was like that time. But I don't know anymore. The system admin knows the ignorance of a higher power is like it's like living in a box the whole life. Why? The world is this vast. In some sense, we allow ourselves to be so small in our minds that people, end themselves. That's an error. The result of reality is the result of everything. That means for a moment, just pay attention and realize you're an entity. You're a being. You're being in existence right now. In the same way somebody logs in to an MMO multiplayer online game, and in some sense that character is there in that reality, but that character's reality is not just that. And so the mystery behind your eyes commands a further attention beyond any idea of Mr. Within. The man who taught so much that realized that all reality is an endless firm. Its powers beyond our conceptual. And so, what do we do in the presence of this world? And how have we been distracted by culture? Do you understand? It's like if somebody was to really say the story of humanity, okay, you find this natural world, these beings started behaving unnaturally in it because they had an unnatural boost of awareness to their environment. And from this unnatural awareness, there came what we call the human. And so, what has happened in people in 2026, oh, humanity, members of my species, what you don't realize, okay, is that we are living in what was stories to our ancestors, which was what was transmissions to our ancestors. We are living in those stories right now, thinking the story is more real than what's actually here, which is the presence of an unknown world. Everybody get real, okay? It's like, yo, man, it's like I have so many fears. Okay, let's do a reality check. Do you know who you are? Versus like, I don't know. Do you know what the world is? No, I don't know. Okay, then something stimulated in an unknown place is terrorizing. Liberation finds you when you can, in some sense, realize. Like realize what it is. You know? It's like somebody who's like, looking for something that they don't know what that is. Sometimes it's bizarre. They're like, yo, man, you gotta have a purpose on earth. I'm like, oh, really? You're telling me, the same way two spheres in a vacuum spin around each other, which one's spinning around which, in the same way, beyond the circulatory simulated capsule of human ideology that we're all living in, beyond the doors of these walls, it's like there's something more about what we all were. Okay?